Hello and welcome to InterCommunity 2018. I'm Andrew Sullivan, the President and CEO of the Internet Society, and I want to welcome all of you today. I've been President and CEO since the 1st of September, and since then I've been around the world talking to many of you in person. I've been in every region that the Internet Society works within our community. I'm pleased to have met so many people this year. One of the things that I have heard on several occasions are the plans that many people seem to have in order to regulate the internet, in order to run it, in order to try to take it over. And of course, that is a danger to the internet. So what we're here to do today is to talk about our plans for 2019, to remind people that you can't fix the internet by breaking the internet. We need to work together in our community. We need to work together, all of us, in order to make sure that the internet remains the internet for everyone. So today we're going to look at our action plan, we're going to talk about the future of this program, and we're going to have a look at the plans for the next year. With that, I want to ask you to join me in welcoming our host today, Evelyn Namara, Global Community Engagement Manager, the studio here in Reston. Evelyn?
Thank you, Andrew. Hello, everyone, and welcome to InterCommunity. I'm very excited to be your host for the 4th edition of InterCommunity. To those of you I know personally, thank you for joining. And to those who I have not met before, I'm very pleased to meet you. We have assembled an exciting agenda for today's event. So let's take a look at what we will be covering today. With Andrew Sullivan on board as our new president and CEO, we know that many of you are craving for information around the 2019 action plan. This plan has been approved by the Board of Trustees, and all the information is now available on our website. Secondly, this is a great opportunity for us to think about community events like this. We want to engage you in this critical process of designing and reshaping the ideal Internet Society community event for the future. We are interested in hearing your thoughts and ideas, and this is the start of that conversation. And last, but definitely not least, we are very excited that 43 chapters participated in the 2018 Chapterthorne, and today we will be announcing the winner. We have a great agenda, and we are pleased that you could join. Before we get started, I have a couple of housekeeping notes to share with you. If you want to see what people are saying about this meeting and join the conversation, please follow the hashtag ICOM2018 on Twitter. So that is hashtag ICOM, ICOMM 2018 on Twitter. And if you're wondering what is happening on the right side of your screen, this is Slido. It's our interactive tool that lets you get fully engaged with InterCommunity. This is the first time we're using this tool. Now let's all get engaged. Slido is very easy to use, but if you have any technical issues, click the request support button on the bottom left corner, and the member of the support team will be happy to help you. So now let's try it out. Please go to the Slido panel in your InterCommunity panel portal. It should be on the right. You will see our test poll. Make your choice and hit submit. Is everyone okay with that? Now let's take a look at the results. I see we have a lot of people in the African region, Asia Pacific, Europe. Yes, I think now you're ready to use Slido. Thank you very much. So we are getting a lot of responses. So it looks like the majority of you are up and running and hip and ready to get involved. Thank you so much. All right, now let's get started with the first part of our program, the 2019 action plan. And for this, it gives me great pleasure to hand you over to Andrew, who will take you through the plan. Immediately following Andrew's presentation, we will put up a quick poll, so keep your eyes out for that. Andrew, over to you. Thanks.
The 2019 action plan is intended to lay out the future, the future work, the next year's work for the Internet Society. It builds on our work in 2018. It serves as our strategic roadmap. One of the changes that we're making this year is to try to separate the what we do from how we do it. And so we have a metric-driven approach that will give us clear measures of our work. And that way we will know how well we are advancing our vision to make the internet for everyone. We continue to focus on three large areas. We want to connect the world. We want to build trust. We want to improve the technical security of our functions. And all of this allows us to shape the future of the internet. Last year, we worked primarily through campaigns, and one of the difficulties that we had was explaining how those campaigns fit together with the larger pieces of what we're doing. But really, they're just the pointy tip of the work that we're trying to do in the world. So for instance, with Connecting the World, we will work again on community networks, but we continue there to work on issues such as internet exchange points and protecting the public core. That protection of the public core also entails building trust and improving the technical security of the systems of the internet. We'll continue to use our Deploy 360 program in order to show how the trust can be built, in order to show how the technical security can be improved, and in order to shape the future of the internet. We continue to work on building trust through our Online Trust Alliance program, which is the underpinning of our efforts in the Internet of Things. Of course, we work on all of these things collaboratively. We work on internet governance collaboratively because that's how the internet works. And we work on emerging technologies because the internet evolves over time. We will continue to work through campaigns, but we are improving a little bit the metrics of those campaigns. So in the area of Connecting the World this year, we're going to continue to work on community networks, and that effort will culminate with a global summit that will happen near the end of 2019. We're going to continue working on improving the technical security by attracting new participants to deploy the Manners Observatory. The Manners Observatory will allow us to explain how many routing leaks happen on the internet and will allow us to detect whether our programs are effective, whether any internet routing improvements are effective. We're going to continue building trust by asking Internet of Things manufacturers to improve the security and privacy of their Internet of Things devices. And we're going to aim for a segment of the market in order to make sure that that growing community of manufacturers can actually move the market. We want to shape the Internet's future, of course, and that involves our global Internet report. In 2018, we worked on an issue having to do with consolidation and concentration on the internet, and the 2018 Global Internet Report will come out early in 2019. But what we discovered is that what we had been researching raised more questions than it answered, and therefore, what the Global Internet Report that is going to come out is going to do is set the research agenda for the Internet Society for next year. We'll continue to build our community with ongoing collaboration with everyone who shares our mission. And we'll support and build our community to extend our influence and reach. This means greater connections and engagement with our chapters, organization members, individual members, and partners, and you can expect some announcements about changes to those programs in the near future. We're going to continue to strengthen our global voice, but one of the things we're going to be doing as a result is measuring the effectiveness of the Internet Society brand. The other important thing that we're doing in 2019 is the launch of the Internet Society Foundation. This is a new effort for the Internet Society and an exciting period in the Internet Society's history. It's funded by contributions from the Public Interest Registry, and it's there to support initiatives that advance our mission and our vision. This is going to serve as the central source for all of our grants programs, and it gives us flexibility to expand our grant opportunities for the community, as well as to extend our reach to those previously unfamiliar with us. We expect to launch sometime in the first quarter, and we're going to launch with our chapter capacity building. This is the already in process Beyond the Net program. We're going to move that to the foundation. It will continue to support local and regional projects aligned with the Internet Society's mission. We're also going to expand our community capacity building efforts, and that's going to happen through the foundation as well. The general idea here is to support broader initiatives that improve Internet access. We have a planned effort to work on disaster relief and recovery, but not actually immediately post-disaster. Rather, we want to work with partners to prepare communities to reconnect after disasters, because that has been identified as the area that needs the most aid. We have two other programs in early stages of development. One for research opportunities to fund research and strengthen the capacity across technical, economic, and public policy topics. In addition, we have an innovation fund that we're going to use in order to encourage technology initiatives that will contribute to the open internet. The Internet Society Foundation is also the basis for our financial support for the Internet Engineering Task Force. The Internet Engineering Task Force has set up the IETF Administration LLC, and we're going to continue to fund it in the next 2 years as part of our ongoing commitment to a strong IETF. We're currently preparing recruitment for the executive director for the foundation, as well as other key positions, so you can look for those announcements in the near future. We're also building the foundation's infrastructure and its website right now. We'll be sharing more information about this as we get closer to the launch in the first quarter. Now, these are just some selected highlights of the action plan, but if you want to look at the action plan, you can go to our website and have a look at it. The whole thing is published there. It's already been approved by our board of directors, and I hope that you will have some questions so that if you do, we can answer any of them. With that, I'll turn it back over to Evelyn. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Andrew, for providing us some key insights about the action plan. So as a next step, we would like to ask you which part of the action plan is most relevant for the internet in your region. And for this, we will be using Slido. So if you can go to Slido right now on the right-hand side of your screen and select your choice, which part of the action plan is most relevant for the internet in your region? All right, let's look at the Slido screen. Oh, great. It looks like most of you agree that all of the above. So connecting the world, improving technical security, building trust, and shaping the internet's future. So I'm certain that this must have sparked some thoughts, ideas, as well as questions. And therefore, we would like to give you, our community, an opportunity to ask your burning question. And for this, we will be using Slido again. So if you could go to Slido on the right-hand side of your screen and submit your most pressing question for the executive team. Please make sure to add your name and country. I will give you a moment to get to Slido now and send your question. You can scroll through the questions on your screen and upvote the most interesting ones by clicking or tapping the thumbs up icon. The top questions will be addressed by the executive team. So before we go and take a look at those questions, I'd like to welcome back Andrew, joining me here in the studio, as well as invite the executive team to join us remotely. As you can look at the screen, we have some questions coming in. So let's take a look at what we have right now. The top 4 questions. The first one is asking about the agenda for Future of IoT. Andrew, who do you want to take this up?
I think I should ask Olaf Kolkman, our Chief Internet Technology Officer, to talk a little bit about this.
Yes, thank you. So the future for IoT, I'm going to immediately withdraw a little bit because the future of IoT, of course, is a big topic. At the Internet Society, our focus around IoT is on the impact that consumer IoT has on the trust on the Internet. So that is already a much more focused area than IoT, the future of IoT as a whole. We know that IoT will be pervasive. We know that it will be everywhere, but we also know that the security and safety of IoT will impact the trust in the Internet. So for next year, very concretely, we are looking at how we can get buy-in to the principles that we have developed over the last few years, and principles that have been mirrored in other organizations, principles that seem to become a shared norm. Principles about software upgradability, about security and privacy features, about the encryption of backend data, and so on and so forth. And we'll be looking at convincing both producers in certain market segments to take up and produce according to those principles, but also look at how we can inform consumers about the security of their IoT devices. And in fact, we have already begun that work with Black Friday last week. By producing an excellent video. If you haven't seen it, I'm sure that somebody can cut and paste the link in the chat. An excellent video informing users that the tools they buy as presents or for their house can be dangerous. Over to you.
Thanks, Olaf.
Thank you very much, Olaf. Andrew, there's an interesting question coming in from Naveen. He would like to know the goals that we reached this year. Would you want to take this up?
Well, I think it's harder for me to do it, of course, because I wasn't here for part of the year. So why don't I ask Raul to talk a little bit about that?
Okay, let me focus on some of the things that we have done because we need much more time to answer this question. And of course, we will publish the reports as usual with all our achievements at the end of the year after this. But talking about access and connecting the world, so the campaign on community networks has achieved outstanding outstanding achievements. And I think one of the most important and visible things is how we have helped to strengthen and consolidate this vibrant community around the world. So we have organized activities, summits on community networks in every region, with some notorious successful meetings like the meeting we organized in Inuvik in the north of North America with indigenous communities, bringing a new perspective of access even in developed countries and developed regions like North America. And so another very interesting aspect is the meeting we organized in the facilities of African Union in Ethiopia, what shows that we are really open doors and engaging with the policymakers and international organizations, giving a new perspective, new dimension to the work of community networks. We have supported flagship projects on developing, deploying community networks to solve the needs of the people, improving the life of real people in every region. One of the most notorious projects is the one that we have supported in Georgia, in the Caucasus, the region, in the region of Tusheti. It's in partnership with our chapter there. The chapter in Georgia has done an incredible work there. We continue working on IXPs, and we signed this agreement with Facebook in 2018 that will give us the opportunity to move to the next level, our contribution to the IXPs and improving interconnection in Africa. And meetings like AFPIF this year has been just one more proof of the work we are doing with the community, supporting the community. The community is the one that is achieving really the goals. And just to finalize on this, the work on sustainable development goals gives us the opportunity to work with policymakers in showing and proving together how the ICTs and especially internet are crucial to achieving the sustainable development goals. And so it's a way to commit governments and every stakeholder to increase connectivity as the only means to achieve our objectives, the world's objectives on education, health services, and all the other sustainable development goals.
Thanks, Raul. That's very helpful. The other thing that I will mention, of course, is that if you look at the 2019 action plan, one of the things we've done is try to improve the number of measures that you can see inside the action plan, so you'll be able to hold us to account next year. That's one of the things that we learned in 2018 about publishing our goals more widely in advance. So that's something that we're taking up in the next year. But I agree, the Internet Society has achieved a large number of its intent in 2018. I'm very pleased about the progress we've made so far. Thanks. Ibarra?
Okay, great. So we have another question from Neville. With internet security of critical importance, how will you get manners more widely adopted than the 100 network operators announced today?
This is always a challenge, and there is one thing that I'm going to say, which is that, of course, it sort of depends which network operator you invite. But one of the things that we're trying to do is to use the observatory as an enticement. So I'm going to ask Olaf once again, it looks like he's going to be on the spot today, to talk a little bit about the way that the observatory is, in our opinion, going to attract more people.
Yeah, so one of the things that is always difficult with security innovation, so to speak, is the fact that they remain invisible. If you add a protection, a strong door lock, so to speak, you don't see people walking through your door, and that's exactly the intent. So it's very hard to measure the effect of your security mechanism, and we believe that the observatory that we are adding will create some visibility in the effectivity of the measures, the actions that we ask network operators to take when they adopt the measures. It will also add to transparency among those operators, that they are in fact taking the measures and they are taking them seriously. Another thing that we are doing in order to create that vibrant community is we look for different types of actions for different communities. For instance, the community of internet exchange points. Internet exchange points are often places where people come together and route traffic between them. And internet exchange points often offer infrastructure that assists with that. And internet exchange points are in the position to take very specific actions around the implementation of those measures. And we've targeted specific actions for these internet exchange points. Thirdly, we will be looking at other communities, communities of interest. For instance, we are eyeing the content distribution networks for specific actions. And finally, we'll be having a community manager that will keep this engagement vibrant. We're targeting very specific communities, the network operators, of course. This is not end user oriented, but we believe that with those measures, we can actually double the amount of network operators that are subscribed now, preferably even more than double. We're looking for exponential growth, so doubling is the underlying issue here, the lowest barrier, so to speak, to pass, and we hope that we can create a perfect storm there. Over to you.
Thanks, Olaf.
All right, so we have another question. How will we continue to grow the OTA as a vibrant community of enterprises and businesses that care about a trusted internet?
Thank you. This is a wonderful question. It looks like Olaf is going to be on deck once again. But before I throw it to him, I just want to point out that the OTA actually forms the core of our strategy around the Internet of Things security initiatives that we're making. And so this remains actually a piece of what we do every day. In any case, there have been some developments in the direct support of the OTA, and since that is part of Olaf's responsibility, I'm going to toss it to him.
And I need to unmute to get there. So yeah, one of the things that we want to accomplish with OTA is indeed a vibrant community. That means that we will continue to offer the products that OTA has traditionally offered, like the just published email and marketing unsubscribe audit that came out last week. The trust audit will be launched beginning of next year. But at the same time, we're looking to create value for our membership. The OTA membership are ISOC organizational members, and we're looking for that value for the organizational members through the works of working group. We have now fully staffed OTA with 3 FTEs. Kenny Olmsted just joined us last week too. So I think that we have the powerhouse that we need in order to get that ball running, and I have high expectations of delivering some of the promises that we made earlier going forward. That was over and out.
Okay, great. Thank you so much, Olaf. I know we care about community building at the Internet Society. Which actions will innovate community building?
One of the problems with building communities is that it's personal work. It's work that you have to do one-to-one in order to welcome people in and so on. This is an area of particular focus for me. It's part of the reason that I spend so much time in airplanes over the past several weeks because I've been visiting a lot of different people in order to try to make sure that we have the connections that we need in the community. One of the things that we're gradually doing is putting together our different areas of focus within the community and trying to make sure that the different parts of our community are connected to one another. This is an area of particular concern to me because sometimes I think some of our efforts have been a little unfocused. So this is an area that we're going to be seeing some announcements in the coming weeks. I'm not quite ready to talk about all of the changes that we're going to make there, but I think that you will see that we have a renewed focus on making sure that the different parts of our community can talk to one another, and that's always part of the way that you build a community. In order to build a community, you need to get some value on each side of that, and that involves making sure that people are talking to one another. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Andrew. We have another question from Nikron. What measures have you taken to train the members so as to champion for this goal in their respective chapters and countries? I think this still comes back to community building.
It does, and this is actually an ongoing challenge. Part of the reason that we're going to talk today about what people would like in future intercommunity events such as this is to understand how it is that we can cause these connections to be a little bit wider. The reason that we publish the action plan every year is in order to make sure that people understand what areas that we're going to focus on and what areas we're going to spend less time on. Because that's the way that we try to make sure that everybody is aligned around the same things. And that's the reason that we hold events like this in an effort to try to make sure that people understand what it is that we're working on. But I agree that this remains actually a little bit of a challenge because, of course, the chapters don't have at the moment a direct part in building the action plan. I think our planning process during 2019 is going to be a little more elaborate, and you're going to find a little bit more in the way of consultation as we're building our plans for 2020. So this is another piece that is reflected in the action plan, but that I didn't talk about very much earlier, which had to do with strengthening the way that the Internet Society staff can serve the wider community a little bit more effectively. And that is part of my goal for the next year. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Andrew. So I think we have time for one last question. Can the Internet Society give recommendations for financial sustainability for chapters?
This is a really interesting point. There are limitations to precisely what we can do for chapters because, of course, they're independent organizations, strictly speaking. They're not legally part of the Internet Society. And of course, the Internet Society is constituted as a nonprofit under the laws of the United States right now. So there are generally speaking some limits on precisely what we can do with respect to other parts of the organization. We do try to help organizations in this way, and if there are particular areas where chapters need help and assistance in that area, then that's something that really, ideally, we would take up with the staff who help with those things to ask for that kind of assistance and guidance, so that we might be able to provide some pointers. But there are strict limits on precisely how we can influence the way that chapters work, and I think that that's also an important part of what we need to understand, in the way that we interact with the individual chapters. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Andrew. And thank you very much, the executive team, for joining us in this segment. So, okay, I think that was really great, getting to understand what our community needs, going through all of the issues that I feel are critical for the growth of this community. So we'll be involving them. And if you still have your questions, you can still enter those on the platform, and we'll follow up on those questions. All right, let's continue with our program. So coming up is our discussion around the future of InterCommunity. But first of all, let's build up some excitement for Chapterthorne 2018. So for those of you who are not very familiar with the Chapterthorne, I'd like to show you a short video so you can get some sense of what our chapter members have been up to in this contest for the past few months. Isn't this fantastic? More to come on the Chapterthorne soon. But for now, let's continue with part 2 of our program, the future of InterCommunity. And to kick this off, I'd like to invite James, our Chief Communications Officer, to tell you a bit more about what this section is all about. James, over to you. He's muted. Yeah, he's on mute here.
Can you not hear me? You can hear me now. All right. Sorry about that. Thank you, Evelyn. Hello, everybody from wherever you are connecting around the world. The Internet Society community is made up of many like-minded people. We're a diverse community of individuals, members, chapters, special interest groups, partners, and contributors from all over the world. This is really what makes the Internet Society unique, because we're a society of people who care about the future of the Internet. We launched, as you know, InterCommunity in 2015 as an interactive gathering of our global community. It was envisaged as a moment for all of us who share the same values for an open, globally connected, trustworthy, and secure Internet to come together, to connect, to share experiences, to learn from each other, and to listen. We've delivered and produced InterCommunity now in a number of different ways over the past few years, but finding a winning formula hasn't always been easy. Different event formats have given us different challenges. We're also challenged by multiple time zones. With people in so many cities and countries, it's difficult to find ways to bring people together physically and online. And last but not least, we all have very busy schedules, and the dates that are picked can't always work for everyone. So this year, we're doing things a bit differently. We wanted to use this year's InterCommunity meeting as a moment to stop and think about what future community-oriented events could look like. Above all, we want to hear directly from all of you about what you'd like to see in a global meeting of the Internet Society community. Because really, this is the best way for us to model future events on ideas that come from the community for the community. And this meeting is the start of that process. This is the moment when we begin a period of consultation and information gathering to reimagine InterCommunity for years to come. With all the ideas that we receive from you over the coming months, we'll map out a new sustainable model for InterCommunity with a view to hosting a new look event in 2020. So let's get that conversation started, and back to you, Evelyn, to do that.
Thank you so much, James. We actually started this conversation earlier this week through Slido. I want to thank all of you who already contributed and shared your ideas. So, what we'd like to do today is providing you with insights of what ideas have been submitted, and at the same time, we want to give those of you who have not submitted your ideas the possibility to do so. We'll capture your thoughts. So, if throughout this session you have an idea for the future of InterCommunity that you'd like to submit, feel free to use the Slido screen on the right. Make sure to add your name and country so that we can follow up with you afterwards should we have additional questions. As many of you have already submitted your ideas, we don't want to keep you waiting. So while some of you are working on adding new ideas, we have invited a couple of community members to talk about some of their ideas. We hope that this will spark fresh ones. After that, Joyce and James will be taking a look at some of the other ideas. So without further delay, let me invite Amrita Chaudhary from the Indian chapter to give her submission.
Hi, my name is Amrita Chaudhary. I'm from the India Delhi chapter. At the onset, I would like to thank ISOC for giving me the opportunity to present my views. An ideal community event for me would be one which is open, inclusive, and welcoming divergent views and experiences from across the globe. An event where new community members, especially women and youth from the global south, are encouraged to articulate their experiences, views, and concerns, irrespective of their age, language, and experience. Additionally, the learnings from such events should be taken forward and wherever possible acted upon. To build more interest and participation from the community, perhaps a bit more outreach needs to be done amongst community members to emphasize the importance of participating in such events and highlight how it would help them and their community members. Also, as a build-up to the community event, perhaps each region could have a regional community event where each chapter could be encouraged to have one representative, not the usual people who speak at forums, to share their perspectives. All such regional experiences could be summarized as a report and shared with the global audience. Simultaneously, the most unique ideas could be shared by the community member at the global event. This would not only help to get more diverse views, but also encourage new community members who have never expressed themselves in public to speak up, and also create an interest and motivate other such community members to participate in these events. Thank you.
All right, let's now hear from Raphael Lito Ibarra with his submission.
Hello, I am Lito Ibarra. I am the president of the ISOC chapter in El Salvador, Central America. And I would like to propose a quite kind of a simple idea for the intercommunity in the future. I would like to propose that we define a date, specific date, do it within November each year. Just like May 17 is Internet Day, we can select one of these dates. Also define a certain specific topic that we want to talk about, like for instance, community networks, or maybe next year will be another one or whatever. And we promote and organize events in each and every one of the ISOC chapters throughout the world in the same date, not interconnecting among ourselves, but having isolated events. But we all discuss the same issue. Afterwards, in December, we can have the intercommunity, this event that we're having now, and share our experiences, some of the chapters that went through on that specific day. That will be my idea. I hope you like it, and we can work on it. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you, Raphael. And now, last but definitely not least, please join me in welcoming Matthew R Antonin from the USA.
My name is Matthew R Antonin. I'm from the North American Indigenous community, and I would like to discuss the fact that the indigenous internet access has issues at the world level in North America, because the people that are deciding the future of the internet are not including the indigenous populations. It's extremely important to include the less fortunate folks that are not connected to the internet to be able to identify the needs and the services that the communities require. And by including their voice, they can help provide better solutions and opportunities for the future connectivity of these last billion, if you will. They know their communities very well. They know their needs very well. And the unfortunate event is that most people come in from the outside and say, hey, we know what you need. Here's what you need. And they deploy something that turns into a giant paperweight and a non-functional solution. So moving forward in the development of the future of the internet and how to connect the last billion, we need to include all the voices. Thank you.
Again, what a fantastic idea. I can already picture it. Amazing. Thank you so much for sharing your inputs. These are just 3 examples of many pre-submitted ideas we had. We had almost 130 responses to our call in the email to everyone last week. And thank you for those who have been adding additional ideas throughout this section of our program. We will be reviewing your ideas over the coming weeks as well. We did go through all original replies which were submitted last week, And now we will respond to a selection of these pre-submitted questions. So let's ask James to join us again. And I'm joined here with Joyce in the Reston studio. So James and Joyce, yes, two separate people and no relation to the famous novel writer. Let's take a look at the first idea that caught our attention. Joyce, would you like to comment on this?
So first of all, apologies for the voice. It stayed somewhere over the Atlantic, I think, when we flew over, or it remembered last year's intercommunity and it didn't want to wake up this morning. But it's a pleasure to seeing so many people joining us today. I see many familiar names. I see many new names, which is great as well. So thank you and welcome. I also want to thank everybody who took the time to fill out our question prior to this event. As Evelyn said, we had over 130 submissions with great ideas. And so really want to look at some of the emerging themes that we've seen. Some of the, you had very sometimes similar ideas, but sometimes just building on the ideas that other people have submitted. So we wanted to have a look at some of the themes that we've seen emerging from that. So James, would you want to maybe just dive into some of them to start off the conversation here?
Yes, of course. Thanks, Joyce. So yeah, we have extracted a number of common themes from the submissions that we've received. And in fact, I see some of those themes emerging to the top of the Slido chat as well. So there's some nice consistency there. We've heard from many of you about how you would like to retain the open, inclusive nature of intercommunity. I think this is an important consideration for any kind of community event for us, and it seems as though that is very much something that you would like to build into the heart of any future community events. Many of you have also been very positive about the sort of core concept and core thinking behind intercommunity as a way to both showcase the power of the internet and to bring us all together. So again, that's something that we want to retain in intercommunity. We've heard that from many of you that you'd like to see it evolve and to retain it as a community event for everyone around the world, which is great news. So it gives us a really, really good starting point. And in fact, many of you see it as an opportunity for the community to cooperate and to collaborate better, to perhaps to create deeper synergies between chapters, between groups within continents and around the world. Some of you have linked your ideas to for intercommunity to the campaigns that we have been running over the past year and that we will be running again next year around access and trust, which of course is our strategic focus, as Andrew pointed out during his presentation of the action plan. And many of you have also suggested that intercommunity or a community-oriented event can be a way to celebrate community success, as well as a way to understand more about the makeup of our community and our membership. There are some other really great ideas here in terms of how we might evolve intercommunity from being a single global event to having a more regional focus, where we might perhaps have mini intercommunity events allowing chapters and people to join together in smaller activities which together make up part of a bigger intercommunity or a bigger suite of activities. So I think that's certainly something for us to have a good look at. As you know, in the past, we've tried to build in some regional and local community interaction, but maybe there is a way to come up with a model that does that in an even better way. So there's lots of interest out there in shaping intercommunity as an event for everybody at many different levels. And we've also had a lot of input in terms of the specific topics that many of you would like intercommunity to cover. So Joyce, would you like to talk a little bit about those?
Yes, thank you, James. The voice is really, really getting hard here, but I'll try. In terms of topics, as James alluded to, what we've seen, I mean, and it's great to see that it was very much aligned with what Andrew already outlined in the action plan and aligning with some of the priorities that we've set for the year to come. Having said that, there is probably a way to actually take this one step further. So some of the things that we've seen, access came out loud and clear as one of the main priorities for many of you, but more particular access in rural and underserved areas. Also looking at alternative ways of connectivity. So this aligns nicely with the work we are doing with the community networks, of course, but maybe there's something more we can look at there. The other trend that was clearly coming out was security. So some of you really pinpointed it towards cybersecurity as a main theme. Some of you really narrowed it down to more of the IoT security pieces, which again aligns nicely with the work that we have set up. Then the other thing that came out is that there's really a desire from the community, from all of you, to look at what emerging trends are coming up. And in particular, one that came up quite a few times in the questions, or in the responses rather, is so looking at the trends around artificial intelligence and how that will influence the internet going forward. So those are kind of some of the broader themes that we kind of bundled in here, so we can definitely take that as a starting point to continue the conversation. So James, do you want to add something maybe on the format of the events?
Sure. Also, just to note that I'm seeing some really nice input in Slido as well. One talking about how to use InterCommunity to showcase the successes and the impact that we as a global community are having around the world, and the difference that is making on the ground. So again, a really nice sort of core idea for us to consider when we think about how we evolve this event. The format of InterCommunity, again, is an important consideration. We've had lots of ideas on that as well. It's an important piece of the puzzle. And we'd like to get a very good sense of the kind of event that people around the world are interested in having. We've had a range of suggestions, including ideas on virtual roundtables and how we might use those to encourage inter-community discussion, how we might use a global event or an event that happens regionally as part of a bigger event to get newcomers to the Internet Society community more involved and engaged in the activities that are happening. Increasing the level of accessibility in online events. That's certainly one for us to have a long, hard look at, and a role that interactive workshops perhaps could play. I think that is interesting because it leads us down the path of thinking about InterCommunity, not perhaps just as a single moment, but as a series of things that perhaps combine into a bigger activity. So all of this tells us that there's a lot of potential to develop the thinking behind InterCommunity further. There's a strong desire from the community to increase the level of collaboration and cooperation between its different parts. And we'd like to continue to gather your input, your feedback, your ideas to help us model an event format and approach that really works for all of you. So back to you, Joyce, if your voice will hold out, just perhaps to explain to people how we're going to go about doing that into next year.
Thank you, James. As James was saying, this is really only the beginning of the process, and so we appreciate all the inputs we received so far already. We're really looking at call it a consultation process or a co-creation process rather, running through 2019. So we will be in touch early next year, which is actually not that long from now. We'll be in touch on how we're exactly going to do that and how we're going to really create that co-creation environment so that together we can build an event that makes sense for our community. So thank you again, and Evelyn, thank you for having us.
Thank you so much, James, and thanks, Joyce. I hope your voice gets better. I'm excited to see this event grow and evolve, and cannot wait to co-create the event with all of you. Thank you so much. All right, so now we have reached the final part and the final program item on our agenda, the Chapterthorne. I'd like to give this moment to the person who has been leading this project so she can provide us with some background information. Please join me in welcoming, all the way from Germany, the Senior Manager, Global Chapter Development at Internet Society, Kristin Sagasa.
Hello, everyone. Thanks a lot, Ellen, and it's wonderful to see so many of you on the call today. I'd just like to give you a little bit of background on the Chapterthorne, what it is, and where the idea initially came from. So the Chapterthorne is a global chapter project marathon or competition, if you want. Currently, the Internet Society has, as you may know, 127 local chapters from around the world and 8 special interest groups, also called SIGs. So during the Chapterthorne, Internet Society chapters and special interest groups developed and implemented projects on a specific theme, which was the Internet of Things, IoT, this year. They did so within a specific timeline. They all had the same timeline, which was 45 days, and the same budget, which was $2,000 in that case. So the aim behind the Chapterthorne was really to engage both our chapters and SIGs who competed with their respective projects in the competition, but also the members who then selected the projects they liked most to identify the winner. A pilot of the Chapterthorne was organized 2 years ago in Latin America and the Caribbean, and we then decided to build on that success and inspiration and actually globalize the program as of 2017. So last year was the first global edition, and that edition focused on connecting schools through the internet. And this edition actually won a prize of the World Summit on the Information Society. This is. So how does it work concretely? In 2018, all Internet Society chapters and SIGs have been invited to develop projects around the Internet of Things, IoT, and 43 chapters and SIGs from around the world decided to take part in this challenge. So based on the videos they produce at the end of their project, all Internet Society members have then been invited to vote on the project they like most. And today is the day of the announcement of that winner. Before that, I'd like to introduce you to Frederick Donk, who is the Regional Bureau Director for Europe at the Internet Society, but also the main lead of the Internet Society of Things IoT campaign. So he will give you a little bit more background on the topic of this year's Chapterthorne. Frederick, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Christine. Hello, Evelyn, and hello, everybody. Very happy to be with you today, and very excited to walk you through the IoT campaign, which is also known after Trust by Design. So what's the issue, and why does the Internet Society decide to act here and act urgently? We're talking about 20 to 30 billion connected devices that will be on the market by 2020. Yes, 30 billion connected devices. And we know that those devices will be poorly protected from a security and privacy perspective. And you know our saying in the technical community, everything you put on the internet will be part of the internet. Well, that's the reason why Internet Society believe we should act and act urgently, because those connected devices have the potential to threat users, user trust, but also the network itself. So what did we decide to do? We decided to address this in 3 main avenues. First, manufacturers. We want manufacturers to embed privacy and security in their devices. And for this to happen, we will help them with a set of principles encapsulated in our OTA, Online Trust Alliance Trust Framework. Those are 40 principles like authentication, encryption, the ability to switch off or to change passwords. And we believe that if manufacturers would embed this and implement this, we would have zero issue, at least compared to the early stories that we know the last 5 years. The second big group of stakeholders are, of course, policymakers. We want policymakers to create an environment that promotes privacy and security. We're not necessarily talking about regulation. It's just about promoting privacy and security. And then the last group, maybe the biggest one, those are users. This is you, this is us, this is our community. We believe that this group is super important because if users raise their voice, they can influence both manufacturers and policymakers. So for this to happen, we also have enter into a partnership with Consumer International. Consumer International is an organization of more than 100 users organization across the world. So you should expect much more to come. Olaf already mentioned some videos this morning, but there's much more in the pipe. Of course, none of this would be possible without our community, without you. We already have endeavored in many actions with our community across the world at regional and local level. We receive feedback from our community every day in our team saying how happy they are to use the materials that we have provided, and again, much more to come. I would like to point to some specific endeavors that we have in Canada, in Senegal, with our community in France, UK, also in Asia. I must say that I was thrilled by this Chapterthorne because this is exactly what we need. Thank you a lot for doing this at local level. I've seen all the videos. Good luck for the team who will decide who the winner is, because I see at least 15 to 20 winners for this case. So I'm very excited to see this going forward. Thank you a lot for your attention.
Well, thank you so much, Frederick and Christine, for your insights. And now I know all of us have been waiting for this moment, so it is time to announce the projects that received the highest amount of community votes. We are very privileged to have one of our Board of Trustee members here today to announce the first project that made it to the top 3. Straight from Argentina, please help me to welcome Olga Cavalli.
Hello, good morning. Good morning from Buenos Aires, Argentina, in this beautiful spring day we have here in this quite early morning. And thank you very much, Evelyn, and thank you for the kind invitation. And well, I won't keep you all waiting any longer. It is with great pleasure that I present you the first project in the top 3. We will present them in alphabetical order. And that chapter is the Afghanistan chapter with their incredible IoT project. So let's have a closer look at their project, please.
در مکتب ما یک کامپیوتر باشه، همین وسایل دو باشه و بتونیم زیادتر کار کنیم. بخشی که میتونستیم چراغ به اینترنت وصل کنیم و از راه دور را کنترل کنیم. این بسیار مهم بود و بسیار جالب بود.
زه خپل د ننګرهار اوسیدونکی یم او خاص کر کابل همدغه کمپیوټر ساينس خاطر راغلم زه او داسې یعنی د کوم پروجیکټ چې د IoT انکریډیبل IoT د انټرنیټ سوسایټي افغانستان لخوا یعنی کوم استاد چې زموږ کمپیوټر دی یعنی چې ما ورته ویل چې ماته باید دې کې برخه راکړي. زه غواړم چې داسې سیمینارونو کې برخه واخلم تر څو که چېرته سبا زه پوهنتون کې یم نو په دومره څه وپوهېږم چې خپل هغه کار او خپل دغه مخکې وړلی شم.
چون نایتی را تونستیم که توسط این پروژه بشناسیم توسط این سمینار که چه قسم اینترنت اشیا را به اینترنت وصل کنیم و چه قسم از اینترنت اشیا استفاده کنیم.
What a fantastic project. I'm sure you all agree that this is a very well thought out project. There's something I really loved about this project, and that is creativity. I'm pretty sure that this project will have sparked some things with you as well. So why don't we go to Slido, and in just one word, please note one word, could you tell us what you love about the Afghanistan chapter project? Go to Slido and enter the one word you love about the Afghanistan chapter. All right, I see all of your submissions coming through. Keep them coming. Amazing. That's fantastic. I love seeing all of your submissions about this project, and I totally agree with each one of them. So, Afghanistan chapter, I hope you can feel the love. People are loving your project. People are rooting for you. So well done, Afghanistan chapter, and best of luck with you later today. So while we wait for that, let's take a look at the second project. Olga, please take it away.
Thank you, Evelyn. Thank you very much, and congratulations to Afghanistan for such a beautiful and fantastic project. And the second chapter we can congratulate for reaching the top 3 of the Chapterthorne contest is the Benin chapter with their IoT Low-High Tech, a connected object creation workshop. Congratulations, and let's have a closer look at their project too.
Le rideau est tiré sur le projet IoT Low High Tech ce vendredi 5 octobre 2018 dans la salle de conférence du campus numérique francophone de Cotonou. Un projet exécuté dans le cadre du programme Beyond the Net de ISOC via le Chapterthorne. Cet événement, qui a enregistré une vingtaine de participants de profils divers, a été organisé par le chapitre béninois de l'Internet Society.
L'Internet Society est une organisation internationale qui œuvre pour la promotion du développement d'Internet et le développement des standards ouverts. Et à ce titre, nous avons plusieurs axes prioritaires que nous défendons, entre autres les réseaux communautaires, l'Internet des objets, la gouvernance de l'Internet et la sécurité du routage. Le chapitre du Bénin a soumis un projet et a été sélectionné pour pouvoir l'organiser.
Durant 5 jours, il a été essentiellement question de les outiller sur l'environnement Arduino en vue de la création d'objets connectés. Les assises ont pris fin sur une conférence publique au cours de laquelle les participants ont présenté les résultats de leurs travaux en atelier. C'était l'occasion de mettre en exergue l'importance et la place de ISOC dans l'exécution effective du projet IoT Low High Tech.
Et cette année, l'idée, c'était un Chapterthorne autour de l'Internet des objets.
Les travaux en atelier ont été beaucoup plus pratiques, ce qui a permis aux participants de créer notamment 2 détecteurs, l'un d'incendie et l'autre de niveau d'eau. La domotique et l'environnement n'ont pas été du reste. Et pour cause, IoT Low High Tech 2018 a également accouché de projets de maisons connectées et de poubelles intelligentes.
Ce monétique est composé d'un système d'ouverture et de fermeture automatique lorsqu'on se rapproche de la poubelle en vue de jeter un déchet.
Les participants n'ont pas manqué de se pencher sur le secteur agricole. À cet effet, ils sont parvenus à la création d'un épouvantail connecté.
Merci beaucoup à ISOC. Merci au nouveau bureau d'ISOC et bon courage à eux.
Fantastic. Well done, Benin chapter. I'm honestly very inspired every single time I watch these videos. So as I watched that video, the one word that I felt resonated with me was inspiring. What about you? Jump on Slido again and quickly let us know your one word, and I insist one word, of what you liked about this project. Let's go to Slido again and give Benin some love. French. Yeah, pull up that Slido. Let's look at the submissions we have right now. Innovative, impressive, innovation. I see innovation coming up a lot of times. Creativity, excellent. Wow, all of are great, great terms that we can all agree that this project is really one of the best ones. All right, so those are all good compliments. Congratulations to the Benin chapter and best of luck today. Now let's take a look at our third and final project. Olga, will you please take the honors?
Thank you very much, Evelyn, and congratulations to Benin. Remember, we're presenting these three final candidates in alphabetical order. I am very honored to name the third and last chapter that reached the top 3 of the Chapterthorne contest, and that chapter is Brazil chapter with their InspectorNet project. Let's take a look at their video.
O Brasil é um país com dimensões continentais. Somos 208 milhões de pessoas. Dentre essa enorme população, mais de 90 milhões ainda não possuem acesso à internet. A maior parte da população brasileira vive nas áreas mais próximas da costa e na região sudeste do país. Estas são as regiões mais privilegiadas por infraestrutura e riqueza. Quando olhamos para o interior do país, em cidades pequenas e distantes das grandes capitais, a infraestrutura de acesso à internet é, via de regra, muito deficiente. As grandes empresas de telecomunicações não estão interessadas em montar suas redes em regiões onde há população de baixa renda. Para esses milhares de brasileiros, o acesso à internet depende da existência de pequenos provedores e de redes comunitárias, que em muitos casos não possuem recursos adequados para oferecer um serviço de alta qualidade. No Brasil temos 4 grandes empresas de acesso à internet, que dominam a maior parte do mercado. Mas temos também cerca de 6 mil pequenos e médios provedores, que bravamente garantem o acesso à internet para uma enorme massa de brasileiros. Pequenos provedores são importantes para expandir o acesso à internet e precisam de apoio e ajuda. Muitos não têm orçamento para comprar equipamentos de rede com sistemas de monitoramento. Em regiões áridas, muitas vezes os equipamentos de rede param de funcionar devido às altas temperaturas. Em regiões de floresta, a umidade causa dano aos equipamentos. Por vezes, o serviço é interrompido ou se comporta de maneira intermitente devido à precária qualidade da rede elétrica. Para resolver esse problema, nós reunimos um grupo de voluntários do capítulo brasileiro e idealizamos, projetamos e construímos o InspectorNet, um dispositivo inteligente de IoT capaz de inspecionar a infraestrutura de rede de pequenos provedores de internet, medindo parâmetros ambientais como umidade, temperatura, informações da rede elétrica como queda do fornecimento ou consumo. Associado a um sistema de coleta e processamento de informações em nuvem, os diversos dispositivos do InspectorNet conseguem dar maior visibilidade sobre as condições de infraestrutura aos administradores de rede, possibilitando uma ação imediata ou até mesmo preventiva para garantir a continuidade do serviço de internet. Recebemos contribuições de inúmeras pessoas, engenheiros de renomados centros de pesquisa, de empresas de energia, entusiastas de hackerspaces, estudantes de computação, administradores de rede. Entramos em contato com mais de 30 provedores e redes em todas as regiões do país. De norte a sul, administradores de rede demonstraram interesse no InspectorNet. Construímos poucas unidades do dispositivo, ainda em fase de protótipo, e estamos enviando para provedores ao redor do Brasil. Iremos aperfeiçoar o dispositivo e o sistema. Esse projeto não termina aqui. Esse é só o começo e estamos decididos a continuar aprimorando o InspectorNet. Estamos usando a internet para fazer uma internet ainda melhor para todos.
Excellent. Fantastic. Well done, Brazil chapter. To be quite honest, all of you humble us because all of these projects are very, very amazing. So let's take one more time and submit one round of what we loved about the InspectorNet project of our Brazil chapter. You now know what to do. Please head over to Slido and submit in one word what you loved about the Brazil chapter. All right, let's look at the Slido screen. Creative, I agree. There's a lot of creativity in that project. Relevant, innovative. Amazing. Thank you so much for showing so much love to Brazil. And well done, Brazil. This is an amazing accomplishment. So now it is time to announce the winner of the 2018 Chapterthorne. The winning chapter will receive an award of $3,000 US. Olga, the pressure is on you. Please take it away.
Okay. Thank you, Evelyn. This is the big moment. And I personally want to thank all the chapters that participated in the Chapterthorne. All the projects were great. These 3 of them were very, very good, but all of them are very much appreciated. And here we go. So it is my great honor to announce that the winner of the 2018 Internet Society Chapterthorne is through the Benin chapter. Congratulations, Benin. Can I please ask the president of the Benin chapter to join us virtually to accept your prize and address a few words to your peers here online? Thank you, and congratulations, Benin.
Bonjour mesdames et messieurs, chers membres de la communauté mondiale de l'Internet Society. C'est vraiment avec beaucoup d'émotion que nous accueillons cette victoire pour le Chapterthorne 2018 de l'Internet Society. Notre chapitre vient de loin et cette récompense est pour nous une belle reconnaissance des défis que nous avons engagés depuis quelques mois. C'est pour cela que nous dédions cette victoire à tous les acteurs qui ont œuvré pour la redynamisation de notre chapitre et à l'équipe de projet qui a brillamment travaillé pour sa mise en œuvre. Dans le cadre du Chapterthorne 2018, nous avons organisé un atelier de création d'objets connectés et leur sécurisation à base de matériel recyclé et à bas coût. Nous continuerons nos actions et renforcerons notre engagement autour d'un Internet des objets connectés encore plus sécurisé. Je voudrais terminer ces propos en disant félicitations à l'ensemble des chapitres qui ont participé à cette compétition. Au nom des membres du chapitre Bénin d'Internet Society, au nom de son bureau et en mon nom propre, merci à Internet Society Global pour cette belle initiative et également merci à l'ensemble des femmes et des hommes qui, à travers le monde, travaillent pour un Internet ouvert, neutre et universel. Je vous remercie.
Congratulations, Benin chapter. Well deserved. It's great to see our campaign come to life in our local communities. Let's give them one more round of virtual applause. And Olga, thank you as well for your support to the Chapterthorne and your continuous active involvement in our community. And now we've come to the end of our time together today. I'm going to say goodbye to you all now. Thank you for your active involvement and your support. And to close InterCommunity 2018, I would like to hand you back to Andrew. Andrew?
Evelyn, thank you so much, and thank you for hosting us today. This event is called InterCommunity because we can only build the internet in a community. You can't internet alone. You can only do it with others. And so our community remains essential to our success. It was essential to our success in 2018, and it will be essential to our success in 2019. This is going to be an exciting and productive year. It builds on the past, but we aim to close the gap between our world of today and our vision for the future, the internet for everyone. Thank you for joining us today. We'll see you on the net.